Namaste. This is David Hawthorne at astroview.com. Today is the 12th of August, 2014. The following is the Vedic Astrology reading for Robin Williams, based on the 21st of July, 1951, at 1:34 p.m. Central Standard Time in Chicago, Illinois, which was recorded in the hospital. Outside of the hospital, it was 2:24 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Well, both charts give the same degrees, the same rising sign. In other words, whether he's born at 1:34 Central Standard Time or 2:34 Daylight Saving Time, it gives the Libra rising sign. The first house, we have the Libra rising sign ascending at 19 degrees Libra. Now, our condolences to the family for Robin Williams on his sudden passing yesterday, August the 11th. So we know that Robin Williams was an American actor and a stand-up comedian. His success began in 1978 through 1982 when he had a TV show called Mork and Mindy's. But his films went on to include The World According to Garp, Good Morning Vietnam, The Dead Poets Society, The Fisher King, Mrs. Doubtfire, Jumanji, The Birdcage, Good Will Hunting, and many others. He also won an Academy Award for the Best Supporting Actor in Good Will Hunting. He won 2 Emmy Awards, 4 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Screen Actor Guild Awards, and 5 Grammy Awards. His mother was a former model. His father was a senior executive at Ford Motor Company, and he had 2 elder half-brothers. He went on to earn a full scholarship to the esteemed Juilliard School from 1973 to 1976. He had 3 marriages, 2 divorces. He was still married at the time of his death to his 3rd wife. He had a son, followed by a daughter, followed by another son, so 3 children. His older brother died a few years ago, complications from heart surgery. During the late 1970s and early 1980s, Robin Williams had this addiction to cocaine. But the death of his close friend, John Belushi, another comedian, in March '82, and the birth of his eldest son in April '83, prompted him to quit drugs and alcohol. But 20 years later, in 2003, he began to drink again. And in 2006, he checked himself into a rehab center. In March 2009, he was hospitalized for a heart problem. He had to undergo a surgery to replace his aortic valve. That was March 13th, 2009. And he was found unconscious in his home in California on August the 11th and was pronounced dead by 12:02 p.m. at the age of 63. His publicist said he was battling severe depression at the time of his death. Now, using the systems approach to interpreting horoscopes and Vedic astrology from India, we see that in the first house, the 7th sign is ascending at 19 degrees. This is Libra rising sign. And this is an air sign. And air sign persons are very intelligent. There are 3 air signs: Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Libra is ruled by Venus, which is the fine arts, performing arts, and healing arts. We say Libra has a very magnetic personality. Now, according to systems approach to interpreting horoscopes, there are 6 planets that are favorable for the Libra rising sign. And these include Sun, ruling the 11th house of income, Moon, ruling the 10th house of career, Mars ruling the 7th house of relationships, Jupiter ruling the 3rd house of self-efforts, self-initiatives, Venus ruling the chart itself, and Saturn ruling the 5th house of mind, education, and children. So those 6 planets will never cause harm. For the Libra rising sign, we say that Mercury ruling the 12th house, a Dustan Bhava, inauspicious house, becomes a functional malefic planet for Libra, along with Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu are malefics for every rising sign. So Venus rules this chart, and it is in the 11th house of gains and income and friendships. And it's in Leo, ruled by the royal sun, which is in the 10th house of karma and professional life and career. Sun is a very royal planet, and it's in a royal sign, Cancer, ruled by the royal moon. So this is good to have Venus in Leo. Makes him very independent. It gives him leadership qualities. Sun in the 10th house. Sun can make a person rise very high in life. Now this Mercury is not bothering the Sun. Even though Mercury is the most malefic planet for Libra, if planets are not within 5 degrees, there's no impact. So this Mercury is 23 degrees from Sun, so it's not bothering Sun. And Mercury's not close to the rising sign degree, so it doesn't bother this house or the house it aspects. We would say that Mercury is weak in old age, so that can cause some 12th house issues, meaning insomnia, separate sleeping arrangements from his spouse, or a divorce. This also undermines Saturn, because Mercury rules Saturn. And Saturn is in the 12th house. And Saturn is known as Ayush Karaka, significator for longevity. So this is a weak Saturn ruled by a weak Mercury. So it does not provide longevity of life. But the fame and fortune can be seen through the royal sun in the 10th house, the well-placed Venus in the 11th house, Mars ruling relationships, partnerships, joint ventures, marriage, is in the 9th house of divine grace, good luck, and good fortune. And Mars at 18 degrees is close to the rising sign degree. This is known as most effective point. Any planet close to most effective point has an impact. And if it's a benefic, it gives some very positive things where it is positioned and where it aspects. And if it's a malefic planet close to the rising sign degree, then it can cause severe adverse effects. So this Mars is close to the rising sign degree, so it blesses the 9th house of good fortune and Dharma. And Mars is energy and courage. And Mars aspects 4 houses away, so 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away, 7 houses away, and 8 houses away. So Mars is supporting this 12th house of foreign land, so it gives them international success through joint ventures and partnerships. It's also, this Mars is blessing the 3rd house of communications and self-efforts. So very direct, courageous, energetic energy connected with his independence. And Mars also blesses the 4th house of property, real estate, and fixed assets. So Mars is absolutely a first-rate functional benefic. It rules, its Multricone sign falls in the 7th house, will never cause harm. Moon ruling the 10th house of career is placed in the 5th house of children, mind, and if the 5th house is procreation, it is also creativity. And Moon, which is imagination, is in Aquarius, which is unconventional and imaginative, humanitarian. But we see that there are some issues in the chart that are serious. Venus ruling the chart, although in this powerful Leo, ruled by the powerful sun, this is a good strong sun here, ruled by a well-placed moon. By the way, if moon was right here, it would be opposite the sun, so this would be called a full moon. So he was born basically about 2 days after a full moon, when the moon is still bright. So bright moons give public recognition. But now we can see a little deeper into the situation. This Venus is with Ketu. And Ketu can be associated with addictions and drugs. And Venus is opposite Rahu, which is also addiction and drugs and unexpected calamities. Venus is also opposite Moon, ruling the 10th house of career, which brings him tremendous public favor. So I say all Libra rising signs do well working with the public because Moon rules their 10th house of professional life. So they're well suited for teaching, entertainment, social work, psychology, hotels, restaurants, import, export. So this Moon, which is a functional benefic planet, is aspecting Venus very closely. That brings us tremendous public favor and imagination, the ability to emotionally connect with others. But Rahu and Ketu are afflicting both Venus and Moon. So this can cause an eclipse in the career. Now Rahu can cause an increase, and it can give charisma, fame, fortune, energy, and ambition like nobody's business. And that's what it's doing with Moon ruling the career. But it can cause an eclipse in the career, and it can cause addictions. So there are a lot of emotional addictions here. So Rahu and Ketu afflicting Moon ruling the emotional state and the 10th house of career, and afflicting Venus ruling the chart itself. This Rahu at 17 degrees also aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this Rahu is afflicting Mars. So Mars rules the 7th house of marriage. Rahu is the planet of desires. He always had desires for marriage. He had 3 marriages. But Rahu's an eclipse. So that causes the divorces. So he had 2 divorces out of 3 marriages. So I think it's the Rahu Ketu in this chart that we have that is very dangerous. Because Rahu and Ketu, not only do they afflict Moon and Ketu, but they're 17 degrees, so they're within 5 degrees of the most effective point, the 19 degrees. So technically they have an adverse effect in the houses they occupy and in the houses they aspect. And Rahu and Ketu aspect 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So look at this Rahu. It is afflicting into the 9th house of father. His father died early, at a relatively young age. Rahu afflicts the 11th house. He did not have biological, 100% biological older siblings. Rahu and Ketu afflict that house. And Rahu afflicts the 1st house of self. That brings addictions and unexpected calamity. In this case, suicide. Ketu also aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So Ketu's influence on the 3rd house denies younger siblings. He had no younger siblings. Ketu's influence in the 5th house causes highs and lows with the mind and with his children. He had 3 children, but there was divorces, and I assume there was issues over custody and child support. And Ketu aspects the 7th house of marriage, so it brings some karmic issues into marriage It can bring a lot of spiritual progress through marriage and partnerships and joint ventures, but it can also cause these divorces. So Rahu and Ketu are absolute culprits in this chart, causing a lot of trouble, cutting short the lifespan. Venus is also the significator for longevity along with Saturn. Both are weak or afflicted. And I think the Rahu Ketu on the moon causes tremendous highs and lows emotionally. So Rahu's influence on moon gives charisma to the moon, which is the public. So public entertainment, public favor. Very voracious mind. Very unconventional, creative mind. Jupiter rules his third house of younger siblings, and it's in the sixth house, so it's weak. This is 6th, 8th, and 12th house are Dustan Bhavas, inauspicious houses. Planets going into those houses become weak. So this Jupiter is weak, and it rules the third house of younger siblings, so no younger siblings. But it also rules the house of communications, and sometimes things he said got him into trouble. Can create some conflict or misunderstandings. Notice that Jupiter is close to the rising sign degree, so 20 degrees. So its impact 5, 7, and 9 houses away is helpful. So Jupiter ruling the third house of independent entrepreneurial activities and self-expression is aspecting the 10th house of career. So it's good for communications, publishing, teaching, consulting, advisory roles, and success through his own ventures, his own self-efforts. Jupiter's influence on the 12th house is favorable for international fame through his own self-efforts. And Jupiter's influence on the second house can give male children. This is the house of wealth, status, and family life.